a major tsunami that will impact the USA is imminent. So, in a psychic forecast, I will share what I'm seeing, where I see that, when I see that happening, as well as a couple of other predictions for the rest of 2025. And near the end, explain what we can do to prepare and maybe minimize or mitigate any harmful effects from these natural disasters that are increasing and are going to continue to increase. So I have my glasses on, everything's in my notes. So first thing that I want to mention before diving into the prediction is to understand that timelines are fluid. And a forecast or prediction is just that. Nothing is written in stone. And my job is to prepare. It's not to scare. And the more prepared we are, the more we can offset any harmful effects of natural disasters. A good case in point is in the beginning of 2024 for the yearly forecast that several times during the year I predicted a major earthquake in December of 2024. So on December the 5th of that year, a 7.0 earthquake struck just offshore of California. So it was a very accurate prediction, especially when you consider that was the largest earthquake to affect the U.S. in 5.5 years at that time. But the impacts were a good deal less severe than what I had picked up on or what I thought I was seeing. So maybe we were able to change the timelines. It's not a perfect science. Again, these are psychic forecasts. It's just understanding the energies and whatever visions or feelings that come in with that. So, what else? Also for 2025, so going into this year, I predicted in the beginning at least 2, if not 3 major earthquakes affecting the USA in 2025. The last major earthquake, well, I guess the 7.0 was a major one, but the last one that was actually in the U.S. and not offshore was in 1994. So these don't happen every year is the point that I'm making. So in any event, that was the Northridge earthquake in California. So suffice it to say that the Earth is getting very, very active right now. So recently I had made a prediction for the new Madrid fault, and I'll share that near the end for you also. But I had done a video for that, and then I had a comment from Diana, my friend at SoulFam Podcast, who I was actually a guest on her podcast fairly recently, asked me about what about the Cascadia fault? That's the one off of the Pacific Northwest. And that geologists have been issuing warnings, and I think it was May the 19th, just a couple of days ago. There's like 2,000 tremors on that fault. So I remote viewed the area into the future, and indeed, I saw a large underwater megathrust earthquake, which are the types of earthquakes that cause large tsunamis, as opposed to slight earthquakes that cause very minimal or no tsunamis. So I saw a very large thrust earthquake in that area leading to a tsunami. So hold on a second, all of my notes. So I predicted, in the past, a few months ago, I'd already predicted a large and powerful tsunami and earthquake off the northwest coast, Canada and Alaska for quite some time now, actually. And now geologists are sounding the alarm. So, in my way of thinking, when science and tsunami are starting to come into agreement or alignment, that's when we take these predictions seriously. There's also been noted some underwater volcanic activity not far from the Cascadia Fault at the axial seamount. And that also could potentially lead to tsunamis. So an earthquake, I think, would cause a much more of an impactful tsunami. But that's something else. So I'm really feeling this potential around the month of July, maybe June. It's just something we need to keep an eye on now because timelines are fluid. That's the hardest thing to predict when it comes to prophecy, when it's going to happen. I make my predictions. Sometimes they happen on time. I remember a couple of years ago making a very, very specific prediction about New York City for June that happened the following September. So that's a good example. So anyway, so summer, July is a potential for that month. Another prediction to be aware of is a volcanic eruptions around Yellowstone to the mountains of the northwest, of the Pacific Northwest. This may be more relevant towards October, but it still bears watching now. And you can observe the wildlife. There's been changes in wildlife behavior around West Yellowstone. And again, geologists are sounding the alarm. So again, intuition and science are coming into alignment and agreement. Also, I was predicting another major San Andreas or a California earthquake coming this year as well. Though, so that's on the table, and I feel August is the primary month to watch out for that. So there's a few things really to be aware of here. With that, I'm seeing a lot of sky anomalies increasing. These are other forecasts. Solar activity will continue to increase and ramp up as we now have a coronal hole, although that may be starting to orbit out, a very large coronal hole. And what those does, it increases the solar wind, which affects what happens inside the Earth. So when there's a lot of solar activity affecting the planet, it starts to create vibration within the planet, and that can catalyze earthquakes, tsunamis, volcanoes, and things of that nature. As well, there's a sunspot group that's already produced very massive X-class flares that's getting ready to rotate back into being Earth-facing at the time of when I'm filming this video. So we may see some beautiful northern lights, but there could be a Carrington type event, and that can lead to other things, blackouts, stuff like that. So, I'll have more details on these and other things when I do the June psychic forecast, which is just going to be next week. So what else do we write? But for now, be aware, scientists starting to back up prior predictions for this time period. Also, watch out around the coast of Japan. And understand, I'm focusing on the USA right now, but be aware the USA is only 2% of the entire globe. In fact, something big's happening in Antarctica, because that just popped up in my mind. So a lot of things going up. So how to prepare, basically. Stock up, get supplies, have a month, I'd say 2 months of supplies ready wherever you are, because everywhere is vulnerable. Even here in the Northeast is vulnerable. Again, we're here to prepare, not to scare. I found the more prepared I've been for events, the less likely they are to actually pan out. So prepare now. Natural disasters will always happen, but the more we raise our consciousness and raise the collective, the smoother the transition to New Earth will be, and the less impactful of these and other natural events, as well as the escalation of conflicts on the world, the less impactful they will be. So the idea is work on your spiritual growth, raising your frequencies, helping others to do that. And the other thing to understand is that we have help. God, Spirit, Source, whatever name, extraterrestrial beings that are guiding our evolution and our transition from old to new Earth. They're helping, so we have help, we have support. So the idea is to prepare, not to get freaked out about things. We're all going to be okay in the end, and we want to help reduce any suffering and displacement and anything like that natural and man-made disasters or issues can cause. But the big issue right now is what's going on in the new Madrid fault. And again, that's right around the Mississippi. There have been some alarming prophecies from Baba Vanga and others about the Mississippi parting. And this is something that I saw, again, at the beginning of the year, even last year. And several other psychics, many other psychics as well. And now science is showing more activity in that area. So this is the big one to be prepared for. And I have a whole video, it's about 12 minutes long or so, thereabouts, right over here for you, where I go into a lot more detail on what this means, the details on this potential, and again, how to prepare for it and what it would mean for things like supply lines, for life in the U.S. and around the world and stuff like that. So that's what I have for you. I love you. We'll see you at the next video.